बालवीर सीज़न 3 के एपिसोड 60 में हम देखते हैं कि किस तरह बालवीर वीर तरह की गुफा में जा ही रहा होता है कि अचानक से उसकी ज़मीन फट जाती है और आग का दरिया बन जाता है, जो कि बालवीर के एक कदम रखने की वजह से बना था, क्योंकि वीर तारा को बचाया गया है ताकि कोई भी वीर तारा में ना आ सके और बालवीर की पावर्स को कभी ना हाथ लगा सके। और दूसरी तरफ हम देखते हैं कि आगील कहती है कि उसे अभी काशवी को बताना है कि बालवीर ने ही बाबेल और तुएर को मारा, ताकि काशवी के अंदर जो अभी गुस्सा आ रहा है महाजादू की वजह से वो पूरी तरह से बालवीर पर उतार सके और बालवीर को अपने हाथों से मार सके महाजादू की मदद लेकर। और हम देखते हैं कि इसी एपिसोड में बालवीर को भी मिलेगा और काशवी और बालवीर की लड़ाई भी अगले एपिसोड में हम देखेंगे, क्योंकि ये सबसे बड़ी लड़ाई होगी जो कि बालवीर ने कभी भी किसी के साथ नहीं लड़ी, क्योंकि बालवीर का सामना अब महाजादू से है और बालवीर की जान भी अब ख़तरे में है। अगर आप सबसे पहले सीज़न 3 के एपिसोड्स देखना चाहते हैं तो मैजिक वर्ल्ड को सब्सक्राइब कर दें और इस वीडियो को लाइक कर दें, ताकि अगले सीज़न 3 के फुल एपिसोड्स आपके पास सबसे जल्दी आएँ। तो इस एपिसोड को शुरू करते हैं। Today's episode is definitely going to be a lot more intriguing, and we can sincerely hope that this episode is not a disappointment, because we are just getting up to the point where Balveer will be introduced to his soul power and the source of all of Balveer's power, and it was already, you can say, shown or sneak peeked, but we haven't clearly seen what it looks like other than the shots or scenes and clips from the trailers. And the trailer did show us that it was a very, you can say, blunt artifact, and artifact B or B artifact is definitely going to be unshiny and not shiny at all for some reason, which is of course another disappointment, but we can't be fully sure of what will happen when Balveer gets to the point where it is much needed, so that he can acquire B artifact before Utan does, because he plans on destroying the very artifact that is the symbol of existence for all Balveers. Now, Veer Tara is actually a realm, as we previously discussed, and it has been revealed that there is an underground security system for B, and it is highly protected, just like Paritara was. And of course, Paritara was also not that much protected, because Paritara could protect itself, and Paritara would easily reduce anyone to ashes if it found any sort of evil particles in a character or in an entity. So, and that was also described, and it was quite you can say clearly displayed, and we all saw how it went. But here and now we have to see how Balveer copes with the fact that Veer Tara is in fact not B Tara, and B artifact is or was supposed to be called B Tara, but they aren't going to call it that, because there are some reasons that cannot just be explained, and we still have yet to define how Balveer views his powers and the source of all powers that Balveer ever had. We have yet to find out if B Tara can be used as a weapon when Balveer acquires it, because in the trailer we did see Balveer grasping B Tara, and of course we know how this is going to go. Balveer will be thrown, or of course Balveer will be pushed to the lava lake and that river of lava that is protecting B, and just as Balveer is about to hit the lava lake, the forces and the force field of Utan is going to protect Balveer when Benam begs Utan to save Balveer. And of course there was one thing that Utan did wait for, so we have to see what that thing is. And of course Benam is back to her old realm, this cold area where Benam loves to spend her time, and not much was discussed or was going to happen in this episode as we all knew it. But we can hope that the 60th episode of Baal Veer season 3 has some sort of, you can say, good surprise or good writing. We can only hope for that, but of course we must be ready for all sorts of disappointments when we are faced with the fact that they really can't write a good written episode in this new series of Baal Veer. So we are here with Benam and Baal Veer having a chit chat on how to acquire B and find it before Utan does. And Benam just praises Baal Veer so that it boosts his ego, so that he can find where B is. And of course, he couldn't go from the you can say entrance that was heavily guarded, and it was secured by a lock that also did not have the access to Baal Veer, because it's only accessible to Tan and his biometric signs and his retina, whatever scan is, that was also not previously established. So we have to just be surprised at all these plot points. And Baal Veer did try to join it and forced his way to it, but he was unable to, because that was the whole point. If anyone could be able to force themselves to the area where the most sacred power of Baal Veer is stored, then any evil power could have overtook it, you can say, years ago. So there is this plot that revolves around Kashvi. So of course there are 3 main plots going on, and of course we are also going to call Toba Toba's plot as a main plot as well. But there are multiple locations that these plots are going on and about. The first plot is of Baal Veer, Benam and everyone else on Shashwan Lok and Udaka Lok, if it counts still, because the leader of Udaka Lok is dead. So shouldn't Baal Veer be the leader of Udaka Lok now? Whatever. So we are here at the Kashvi plot, and Kashvi is actually getting, you can say, bipolar by the day, when she just is attacking anyone who is just talking. And of course Kashvi was manipulated, and Agil has a lot of hand in it. She really, you can say, pushed Kashvi through the edge, and now Kashvi has gone mad and insane in hopes, or we can say in desperateness, or in a desperate reason for finding, or really just being in contact with her family. And of course she calls Veer's mother, or just Veer, but his mother picks up the phone, and she offers and asks Kashvi to visit the Bhardwaj home so that they can have dinner together or lunch together, so that she never feels the, you can say, the emptiness of a family. And of course Agil arrives at Kashvi's place to, you can say, show that it was actually Kashvi who hurt Agil and gave her all these injuries and bruises, and not Baal Veer, which was just a very weird stance. It could have been a perfect way for Agil to achieve Kashvi's trust when Agil was injured by Baal Veer and not Kashvi. So this didn't make any sense, and the rest of the scene also won't make any sense. It definitely is one of the funniest, you can say, or you can say, it wasn't intended to be funny, but it was. So it is very unintentionally funny, and of course they didn't mean it to be funny, but it is. And of course Agil getting beat up with the magic of Kashvi is definitely one of the funniest things this show has ever done, because that is something completely, you can say, comedic, when Kashvi would just attack and throw Agil at one place and then comfort her and ask for her forgiveness. And then Agil tries to, well, escape, and then Kashvi catches her from her back and then slams her to the table, then to the wall. So that is definitely something really funny. And it isn't Durjal as of now who is causing Kashvi to be this violent. It is actually Mahajadu, and for some reason Mahajadu is now being evil. It wasn't established before, but now it is magically happening because it actually depends upon Kashvi's feelings more than anyone else's. So it would make some sort of sense, but then also it doesn't. And Agil is here to, well, comfort Kashvi and tell her about her parents. But as soon as Agil mentions Kashvi's parents and gives her a map, which is probably the most basic thing ever anyone has ever done in a magical way, because Agil says that it can locate anyone if we ask it, or if we just name that person, if they live on Earth or if they are on Earth, which is probably a technology that is already out since a decade. Of course, this is also the year 2023 in the Baal Veer universe, so we have no idea why they are going with this. And Agil giving Kashvi this map also shouldn't surprise Kashvi, because Kashvi can literally just ask where Agil's, well, her own parents might be. So Agil said the name of Kashvi, and the map gave this location at this red ball point. And now Agil asks Kashvi to name, or to just find out where her own parents are, and the map just refuses to elaborate, and it isn't showing anything. Now, it is pretty normal and it is pretty understandable if Agil says that her parents, Kashvi's parents, are not on Earth and are probably somewhere else. The most obvious locations could have been the moon, or you can say the planets that are yet to be discovered. And of course, if they already know that Baal Veer exists